Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the ADDIESDIVE AD2030. Let's start out with the wrist check. We have ultra affordable watches today. So I have the Maniti 9005, and Greg was wearing my bin bond. Is it the B0135 or is it the B0233? I don't know. I told Gregory that they are canceling all the schools today due to snow. He asked me what snow was. I said it is white flaky stuff that falls to the ground. Don't you have snow at the academy? He said the only white flaky stuff that falls at the academy is Master Skywalker's dandruff. Alright, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this hard plastic case. All Addie's dives come in this case. And so do Steel Dives and many other brands. And here is the watch. We're not going to go over the contents because I know you all saw my unboxing video. But there it is. This is the 13th Addy Dive on my channel. Addy's Dive has always seemed to be a sibling brand to Steel Dive with a similar logo and quite a bit overlap of models. But I've only reviewed 3 Steel Dives, as it seems if they do have the same model, the Addie's Dive is usually the cheaper of the two, and thus my preference for Addie's Dive, since I am self-funded and have to buy most of the watches I review. Recently, Steel Dive has dealt with the fact that it sells more than just dive watches and came up with the brand Steel Flyer for their aircraft-themed watches. Addie's Dive has done no such thing, and most of their watches are still labeled Deep Sea Hunter despite the lack of diving ability. This AD2030 is one of those cases of a watch never meant for diving being labeled a Deep Sea Hunter despite the lack of timing bezel or loom. At 100-meter water resistance and a screw-down crown, you should not have any issues with basic water activities, but clearly not meant for diving. Unlike Steel Dive, Addie's Dive has more quartz options, and this AD2030 has the Seiko VH31 quartz movement, whose main feature is that it ticks 4 times a second, eliminating any of the annoying secondhand alignment issues. This watch comes in 3 different colorways. The one I chose is called Coffee, but it reminds me of sand, and the waves of the dial resemble sand dunes. I thought it would be fun to wear this when I go see Dune 2 at the theater. If you don't like coffee or sand, there's also an ice blue or white dial option. The watch is 35.9 millimeters at the bezel, 36.8 though if you measure at the case. It's 45.6 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links. It's only 11 millimeters thick, including this box stone mineral glass crystal. Has a 19 millimeter lug width and weighs 98 grams on the supplied bracelet with 4 links removed. Yes, 4 links, so the bracelet's plenty long. The bezel is polished and it's fairly wide, so it makes the dial a little bit smaller than it could be. And then we have the dial itself. We have this wave pattern and it makes it look like sand dunes. And of course, if it's blue, then it makes it look like ocean waves. And if it's white, it makes it look like snow. And then we have the Addie's Dive name and logo printed on top. And then on the bottom, it says Deep Sea Hunter 100 meters. Once again, Deep Sea Hunter just seems to be the wrong term for this watch. 100 meters isn't exactly deep sea, and this is not a dive watch anyway. Then we have the indices, we have batons, and we have double batons at the majors. And these batons are not loomed, and neither are the Dauphine hands. This watch has no loom at all, which is another reason why this would never be used for diving, because you want loom on a dive watch. Then we have a needle second hand. And there is no date on this watch. There is no date on the VH31 movement, so there is no ghost date either. Unfortunately, Seiko doesn't make a version of the VH31 with a date, so the date is, if you want the smooth sweep, the date is not the option. They do make another one, the VK71, I think it's called, and it does have a date, but instead of a typical date wheel, it's a date dial or a date subdial. And I'm not a big fan of that date subdial. So I'm glad that they went with the non-date option. Then we have a signed screw down crown. The crown's kind of small, but you'll be hardly using this because this is a no date quartz. Pops nicely when you unscrew it, and when you go to screw it back down, it catches right away and you don't feel a lot of thread resistance. So the thread action is good. Like I said though, you'll hardly ever use it because it's a no date quartz. And then we have the crystal. This is mineral glass, not sapphire, but this is a fairly affordable watch. And it is a domed box crystal. As you can see, it sticks up pretty far above the bezel, but it's still only 11 millimeters thick altogether, so it's still a fairly thin watch, even though it has this big dome crystal. And then we have the case. The case is nice. It's brushed up top, polished on the sides, and brushed on the bottoms. Does a good job. I like it. Then we have a screw down case back. And here we have a little bit more shenanigans here, because if you see there, once again it says Deep Sea Hunter, and then it says Sport Diving Divers Watch with an apostrophe S. That's unfortunate because you're not supposed to use the word divers with an apostrophe S unless it's ISO 6425 certified, and this most certainly is not. So they shouldn't do that. I don't make the rules, but that is a pretty standard rule of watches. Don't say divers with the apostrophe S unless you're certified. Then we have the ADDIESDIVE logo. It's a nice case back. It's nice and thin. As you can see, it doesn't stick up above the case very much at all. And it doesn't have that annoying coin edge. You can just use a regular case back wrench. Then underneath the case back is the VH31 quartz movement. This is made by Seiko, and it ticks 4 times a second, so you don't have that annoying second-hand alignment issue. And once again, there's no date or ghost date. I don't know how long these last, because the whole point of a quartz watch only ticking once a second is it makes the battery last a little bit longer. Maybe that's why they don't have a date on these things. Maybe moving the date wheel is just too much for it, and the battery wouldn't last very long at all. The bracelet is a 3-link with solid inverted end links. And we have push pins, not screw pins. As I always say, I just prefer push pins anyway. They're easier to use. You don't have to find a tiny screwdriver. And if the push pins get stuck, you just get a bigger hammer. If screw pins get stuck, you're kind of screwed. I've never had push pins come out on me, but I've had screw pins come out on me before, and I've lost some before in the carpet. Then we have the clasp. The clasp is a real nice clasp. It's fully milled, both upper and lower. And we have 5 holes of micro adjust, so you will be able to find the perfect fit. And it is signed. Here's the watch and my 7.5-inch wrist. As you can see, it wears nice and flat. Looks nice. I like it. And even though it's kind of small on me, since it's not a dive watch, the dial's a little bit bigger than you would normally have on a watch like this. So I think it looks okay. And I removed 4 links. So that's quite a few links there. So you should be able to wear this if you have a big wrist. We won't be taking a trip to the loom room because this watch has no loom at all. None whatsoever. Not even a tiny little thin strip or anything like most watches. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like this fun wave dial. I think it looks cool. Nice thin case and case back. Makes it wear nice and flat on your wrist. And it has a fully milled clasp with 5 holes to micro adjust. What are my gripes and groans? I wish Addie's Dive would stop putting Deep Sea Hunter on your non-dive watches. It has a 19mm lug width. Why not 20? And the watch is just a little bit small. I wish they would have made it a 39mm. Do I recommend this watch? Yes, this watch is awesome. Looks and wears great. And it has quartz grab and go convenience with the smooth sweep of an automatic. Well, thank you for watching my review of the ADDIESDIVE AD2030, and I will be back with another review. I don't think I'm going to have an unboxing for a while. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.